Mysteries to Die For is proud to introduce a new writer to our morgue, Wil A. Emerson. Wil A. Emerson is pleased to have a special story for Mysteries to Die For. The former registered nurse thought women's fiction would dominate her writing life, but her muse kept interfering with her plans. A little humor wiggled its way into several mysteries, and then a long list of stories appeared in multiple publications. Crimeucopia London, UK, continues to promote her work. Black Cat Weekly is not far behind in releases, and 2026 is looking like a good year for 3 Amazon novels. Welcome to Mysteries to Die For. I am TG Wolff, and I'm here with Jack, my piano player and producer. This is a podcast where we combine storytelling with original music to put you in the heart of a mystery. All of our stories are structured to challenge you to beat the detective to the solution. Jack and I perform these live, front to back, no breaks, no fakes, no retakes. In the world's most dangerous working environments, it can seem like everything is out to kill you. The equipment you use, the materials you work with, the very air you breathe. Stored energy is a coiled viper waiting for the right moment to lash out. Owners, manufacturers, contractors, and beyond have developed safety protocols to combat sticky, that is, stuff that can kill you. Gravity, motion, mechanical, electrical, pressure, sound, radiation, biological, chemical, temperature. This season is all about the means of murder as our authors get their sticky on to test your detective skills. This is Season 9, Stuff That Can Kill You. And this is Season 4. This is Episode 4, where chemical is our sticky means of death. This is Huey and Madelyn, Dead Heat by Wil A. Emerson. I swear you've changed our opening arpeggio.
Oh, you noticed, did you?
I did. I thought I noticed last time, but then I thought you were just messing with me.
Well, I only did it this time.
Oh.
Last episode, I did something stupid as well. I can't remember what I did, though.
Well, this one wasn't stupid. It was pretty. It's just different.
Yeah, but whatever it was.
He's
I messed
got
it up like
spider
4
fingers
times.
walking down the keyboard.
Yeah, I messed it up like 4 times before we ran it. I didn't do it right until we did it live. So
That was awesome.
I was happy
Good
it worked.
timing.
Well, I kept getting in my head about it. Anyway, so what is this bad boy about? I tell you, we got to figure out a good sound.
This is about a unhappily married couple, Huey and Madelyn.
Well, when I think about unhappy married couples, I think of the accordion. But that sounds like it might be annoying to listen to for an hour and a half. That might not be.
Oh, I kind of like that. Kind of moody. Are you playing Summertime?
What's Summertime?
Summertime.
Oh.
And the living is easy.
I don't think that's actually called Summertime.
Oh.
It's Sublime.
No.
Yeah, Sublime plays that. Maybe they did a cover of it.
Okay. 'Cause I thought it was from a Broadway show, but now I can't remember which one. Porgy and Bess, maybe?
I don't know. But no, it's in the intro of a Sublime song.
Mm.
I can't remember what it's called though. It's a really good song. It's like one of my favorite ones. So you'd think I'd remember it, but oh well.
All right.
Anyway.
Everybody has a mission now to figure out what one of Jack's favorite songs
every
is.
episode I'm going to get a fact wrong and you have to correct it. Last episode, I can't even remember what the fact was.
Oh, there were so many facts
I just
last
started
time.
spouting
There
shit.
was, let's see, gay sex. There was the French Agatha Christie. There was, I can't even remember some of the others.
Yeah.
We were fact filled last time.
We were. And we have some follow-ups in this episode. Well, one that I know of. Anyway.
Okay.
I'll shut up and let's play.
Let's play. Nothing says lovin' like a good chat. The problem is, you are a brown nose, ripe to please. Isn't it time to change course, branch out on your own? Huey McPherson sighed. His wife Madelyn let anger flare again, no doubt because of his pending out-of-town trip. What more could he do? He'd rather see the weekend game, Browns and the Panthers, fisticuffs. They fought even in practice. God knows why he put money on the Panthers, down-and-out team, just the way he felt. The business review, i.e. Seaside Escape, had been set up for Alexia's convenience. Alexia Finkbeiner, the boss from hell. No doubt about it, her plan was to snag a luscious overnighter with him. Granted, he took part in the tease because he thought he could cajole her into thinking he would go along with the ploy if she booked the event for another weekend. Futile, to say the least. The damn woman wouldn't bend, and all it netted him was another evening of Madelyn raging on him as if he'd eaten all the cookies in the cookie jar. What was a man to do when the two women he dealt with on a daily basis had their own game plan? His boss, Alexia, and his wife, Madelyn. Damn them both to hell. Huey admitted, though, that there was a bigger, unknown issue lurking behind Madelyn's declaration that he'd changed course. Her remark cut to the bone. I know. Declaration. Your mic's not on.
Oh.
You all can't hear him making fun of me butchering the word declaration.
The decorrelation of independence. I forgot. My mic on the last episode didn't have an on-off switch. And
Maybe
this
you
one
should
does.
just leave it on.
Well, I don't know. Anyway, let's keep going.
Her remark cut to the bone. Brown nose? Sucked up to whom? When he looked in the mirror, though, facts were facts. That face didn't lie to him. Like numbers in a column, 2 + 2. Nice and simple. Strictly off the record, Huey knew he'd dropped the ball on his resolve to lead an alpha life. Air out of the balloon. Fizzle, fizzle. Her demands for change began the day after Madelyn threatened to keep his side of the bed as her personal, manless nest. Kicked out like a fledgling bird he was, Madelyn, a mad robin, had grown tired of feeding the little bugger's needs and wants. That's when it started. Damn, why was he such a pushover for sex? Huey knew if he had a backbone, he'd tell both women to bugger off. But he'd invested so many years into the relationships, signed contracts, if you will, to be faithful to each cause. Pleasure at home, security at work. Sometimes he thought the best way to resolve his problem was to kill one of them. Then, a masterful thought struck him, like a lightning bolt zigzagging through the all-gray matter along dendrites and neurons. Why not kill both? Freedom at the end of a smoking gun. The inspirational moment turned into a sensation he had not felt in a long, long time. He glanced across the room. Madelyn, sitting on the couch, her legs tucked under her, book in hand, an attractive woman in her own right, kept her hair blonde, figure slim, shaved her legs often. His heart raced and his loins filled with the prospect of scoring a big roundabout in bed with the beauty he married 7 years before. Why not? He cloyed up to Madelyn and kissed her neck. Granted, she might not be as receptive as he'd like, but if she resisted, he could at least count the romp as an alpha moment. Madelyn grunted and said, "What's gotten into you?" What she really meant to ask is, "What's gotten into the little lizard?" You surprise me, Huey. Not often, but gotta admit when you do, I like it. Why me? Madelyn shook her head. Ego builder. I must be the constant ego builder. When did it come to this? Seems like it started around the first time Huey had doubts about his performance. She wasn't in the mood. That was all. No harm in sleeping in separate beds. A break might do wonders. What do they say about absence? In Huey's case, he needed the blue pill or whatever the newer, less addictive Cialis. Or, Madelyn laughed, a novel idea. He could try a little harder. When was it he went into a deep dive, so content with himself? Going solo 5-6 years ago? Egads, not long after their wedding. Time flies even when you're not having fun. Huey smiled and kissed Madelyn's lips. Now, let's have a go at it right now. Why not? She decided. What harm could be done if she gave the little bozo a little thrill? She didn't ask for a change in routine, not expecting a one-of-a-kind moment, not the big boom when the sky lights up and thunder roars. Impossible after all this time. But it could turn out to be a notch up from the Grand Canyon-sized rut they were in. Spontaneous, though, as this occasion might be, Madelyn had a hunch Huey would wince, groan, and grind a moment or two and then roll over and fall fast asleep. That had been the pattern for the last millennium. Well, maybe not that long, but it had been a long time since she'd shown any fervor in the bedroom. Madelyn thought he'd forgotten how to apply hot mustard to the whole shebang. Well, aren't you the feisty one, Huey? Feeling guilty or just ready to play? No harm could come from a little tussle between the sheets. Give the guy a break. Besides, it might work well in the future. Loving couple, proof in the pudding if one would ask. That is, if Madelyn carried out the plans that swirled like a dust storm in her head. Plans. Big plans. Her kowtowing husband and his hussy of a boss. And then a notion struck like a lightning bolt. Why stop at killing one of them? Why not lay the hammer down heavy on both? Oh, Madelyn, I love it when you have that wicked woman look on your face. So sexy. Madelyn grinned. Show me the magic, Huey. Let's have a go at it. The doorbell doesn't ring twice. Get the job done. Make us some memories. Madelyn blew Huey a kiss and followed him into their bedroom.
Ew. Why, Will, why did you write this for my mom to read to me? Why'd you do that? You think it would be funny? Do you think you're funny over there in your little studio going,
Oh.
He gets to listen to his mom, listen to softcore smuts. Why? This didn't seem necessary. I was having a good day. It's 9:20 in the morning. I woke up an hour ago. What are you doing to me?
Shut up and play.
Okay.
Ah, hell, the bed's all made up, Huey said with a shy grin. You sure you want to mess it up? Or I'll make it afterward. Right now, he wanted to stay in his wife's favor. Madelyn wasn't one to change the order of chores. Don't do anything twice that can be done once. Wasn't that rule number 1 on her long list? When the spirit hits you, you gotta go for it, Huey. Get those pants off, put your spurs on. Time for a ride. Was the man about to back out of it? Damn, does he or doesn't he want to be the man of the hour? Damn it, where was that hammer? Well, maybe a hammer wouldn't be the best choice. Madelyn grinned as she pulled back the comforter and flapped down on the pillows. A hammer was too damn personal. Up close, you'd have to look him in the eye. Violent. Madelyn didn't think of herself as a violent person, just the person of resolve. Perhaps one would say she'd always been the wiser, better, stronger woman who would get rid of a nasty situation. Or nagging problems. Mice in the closet, window leaks, or cheating spineless husbands with sagging suspenders and too lazy to pull them up. A fair description. And as far as that feckless, shallow boss of his, well, truth be told, Alexia is like a hanger-on. Maybe like that Fatal Attraction gal, all out to gain control of one man's pitiful life. The kind of female who goes after a hapless guy and then works him hard until he claws off into the sunset like a beaten dog. Alexia Finkbeiner, a woman as mischievous as they come. Strictly off the record, ripe for a man who didn't appreciate an honest, dedicated woman. While Huey nuzzled Madelyn's neck, his mind bounced between here and after. On the one hand, he longed to forget about his dual jobs. Alexia, the wanton boss, all those bills he needed to pay, throw them to the ceiling and see what sticks. On the other hand, he needed to buckle down, take control, make his wife bend to his wishes. But where would that lead? A constant presence? If she were at his beck and call, would he want the strain? As it were, He faced the reality that he couldn't live without either of them. Financial security and sex were life forces. He'd been nurtured into believing those two entities would let him live as the man others envied. Two women. Truth be told, he didn't want either one. But screw it. The best solution was to act reckless with Madelyn all night long and then make plans for the future. On a new day, he'd set the record straight with Alexia. In the next phase of life, he would have everything he wanted. So he did his best and, yes, screwed to his wildest imaginations. That is, he screwed his dear wife, Madelyn, and, off the record, in the dark recesses of feigned joy, he thought about the vast horizon of possibilities, all in the near future.
Ew.
You are like 22 and married.
Well, that's not the point. The point is you're reading it. Okay. Okay? Very, very distinct. I could be 95. If you're 115 and reading it, well, you wouldn't be 150. Whatever the point is. Point is.
You'd still be ew.
I'd
My
still
mom's
be
reading
ewed out.
soft
Yeah.
soft porn.
Softcore smut. Yeah.
Softcore slut. That's funny.
Smut.
But
Anyway.
all right.
Well, I think we've all been there. We've all, wanted to kill the wife and the lover. Like, who doesn't have that natural thought, right? This is a relatable story, Will.
It seems like there's a what do they call those, like Chinese sayings, like may good fortune or may opportunity be yours, but it's really a curse.
I don't know.
It seems like there could be something in this, like, may you have.
I'm sure all
two
three of them
women.
are going to end up dead. I'm sure they all kill each other.
Jack's already betting we're looking
sure
for who's going to be dead.
There's an episode of Psych where they do that, where like there's two killers. They killed each other. Like
I remember that one.
One set a trap for the other, and when the first person died, the trap killed the other person still, and so they're both dead.
I remember that one.
It was a husband and wife. It was a good one.
It was
a
very good one.
And then when there was the reveal, the Carlton said you could have sent that in an email because there's no killer. There's no one to arrest. They're both dead.
Yep.
Anyway.
But you needed to have the flair, the big reveal.
You needed the flair.
Everybody loves a good big reveal.
Yeah. And there's no big reveal in an email.
There is no.
Imagine if that episode had ended just going,
yeah.
And we CC'd this guy. What do you know? They're all dead. Anyway, let's continue.
The afterglow. When passions waned and the yawns were recognizable, Huey and Madelyn rolled off opposite sides of the bed and yanked on pajamas. Before the evening's over, I've got a few things to work on for tomorrow, Madelyn said. And the checkbook needs balanced, Huey replied. Neither being smokers, the afterglow a quick fade, they charged off to the next best soothing activity, straight to their laptops on the opposite ends of the kitchen table. I'm planning dinner for tomorrow, Madelyn said. I'm checking out our monthly grocery expenses, Huey replied. Madelyn had no problem finding the perfect recipe. Not the most expensive, digestible ingredients, but then she wasn't entertaining the next president. What she had in mind was a memorable vegetarian dinner for her husband. Payment of sorts for the quick romp. Put aside the hammer notion tonight and call the dinner plans a celebration for their blissful years together. Madelyn scanned the Food Network and top-tier all-recipe site on her laptop. She had herbs and lettuce in her small garden. Huey did his own Google search and soon discovered a low-cost way of divesting himself of an issue he no longer thought was in his best interest. A few minutes later, Madelyn ordered a pizza. Pick up at 8:15, Huey. Check the box first before you take it out. No mushrooms or sardines. If they put them on it, demand another pizza right away, whatever's in the oven, and bring both home. I always check the box, Madelyn. Never miss. Of course, Huey knew he often missed the crucial open-the-box exam, but not early in the marriage, when he was eager to please. Now it would be a week of apologies before Madelyn moved on to a less revengeful state of mind. Huey buzzed away in his blue Prius to pick up Giorgio's pizza. The short drive, fresh air before the late-night splurge. Maybe he should top off the alpha evening with a good bottle of red wine. Emeroni, or maybe a Antiori Chianti Classico. Why not be bold? Lasting memories. A nice touch. The next morning, both went about their routine as if nothing unusual had happened between them. Madelyn was the first to speak as they approached their cars in the garage. "Good morning," Huey countered. "Have a nice day." "See you later." Madelyn hit the gas pedal on her Ford Bronco just a little harder than necessary. She nearly clipped Huey's Prius as he backed out of the drive.
I really got to stop turning this mic off.
I told you gotta stop turning the mic off.
I'm sorry. I love that he drives a Prius and she drives a Ford Bronco. This is such...
It's part of his alpha male life.
Right? I love it.
Great minds think alike. Sorry, did you have another comment?
No, I was just like, this is a long pause.
I was waiting for the resolution of the chord you were playing.
I didn't.
I actually do listen to what you play.
Sometimes I will finish a chord because I feel that you're waiting for it.
I am.
But I forgot about that this time, so...
Great minds think alike. 3 hours and 45 minutes later, Madelyn took her lunch break at her regular time. She told Tula Cunningham, the insurance agent who managed Midtown Farmers Insurance Office, that she was taking more than her usual 45 minutes. House is falling apart. Nuts and bolts hold it together. The cupboards are bare. Had pizza last night. That will cost 3 extra hours on the treadmill. Oh, how I hate sweating. She chuckled, but she wasn't happy. I'm going to take a walk and then shop for groceries and house supplies. Madelyn plotted as she walked along the block. Another meal to prepare. Of course, no sous chef. The dinner task was hers alone. If Huey showed a little initiative, he could lessen her burden. How hard was it for him to boil noodles? Or, heaven forbid, bring home takeout? Chinese? Cheap. Why not? He always answered, a tight budget can't be stretched for restaurant meals or carry-out more than once a week. Why couldn't he at least help with meal planning? If he did 3 nights a week, she'd handle the other 4. 7 years, full-time job, full-time mommy for boy man Huey. Huey, 10 blocks on the other side of town, pushed his desk chair back, stretched his arms, and put on a sports jacket. He said to his counterpart, Wil A, I'm skipping lunch. Off for a longer break with shopping. House repairs, front door squeaks, then the bank. Embarrassing, have to get my bank statements reconciled. Strictly off the record, I can't figure out why it doesn't balance. Willie might laugh if Huey told him he was going grocery shopping. Willie wouldn't be caught dead with a pushcart of groceries, let alone cooking a meal. Single, cut from the genes of a Marine, Willie worked out after work and then ate at the local bar and grill every night. Military man, Willie had always watched the clock, but listened to Huey's woes. Huey felt compelled to let Willie think there was a good reason for the longer lunch break. The bank statement reconciliation was a solid ruse. If Madelyn would just keep better records and tell me when she charged something extra, or God forbid, give me the receipt. I never know if I'm behind in bills or forking out money to a scammer. $375 for retro rejuvenation? Is that something for the body? If Madelyn used it, she'd better ask for a refund. Hell, Willie responded. If it's scammers, Huey, go after 'em. Huey told the half-truth. The first month of marriage, what a charmer. Receipts, few expenses, put her paycheck in the account. Then the honeymoon was over. Yes, Madelyn wasn't the most responsible person when it came to spending. Huey felt like a full-time sugar daddy to the girl woman, Madelyn. Time for a change, Madelyn declared as she walked into Walter Duggan's Ace Hardware. Duggan, the sole owner, was an interesting guy and easy on the eye. Broad back, solid shoulders, blue jeans tight, twinkling blue eyes, and just a hint of a belly. He'd help Madelyn out. Strictly off the record, Madelyn might take him up one day on his reoccurring offer. A little tease here, a little there. Anything extra special you need? I'm always ready to inspect a weathered house. His smile sure looked like he was eating an ice cream cone. Always in need, she said, but today she had to keep to the necessities at Duggan's Ace Hardware, concentrate on what she needed to fix the nasty problem lingering in the old house. Everything's changing in the neighborhood, multilingual, multi-generational. Only thing the same are the mice and the leaky windows, Walter. She could have added, a problematic man, but today she was on borrowed time and the obvious shouldn't be spoken out loud. Next, she trudged on to Jefferson's family grocery and buy all fresh vegetables. Fix a meal baby Huey would remember for the rest of his life. Bless his heart. Time for a change, Huey thought, as he walked into Jefferson's family grocery. Betty Jefferson would lead him to all the right ingredients. Sweet gal, knew how to make a customer feel at home. Always kept the store nice and tidy. Time to get off the pot and back into eating healthy, Huey said to Betty as he surveyed the meat counter. Oh, a little red meat won't hurt, Betty said. Huey never saw Betty flirt with customers, but it seemed to work best on someone who came in frequently. He never missed the sales. Beef tenderloins are on sale. I know you like a good price. 10 per pound. Huey liked the attention Betty Jefferson gave him, so he ordered 8 ounces of lean red meat and winked at Betty as she brushed the strand of red hair from her forehead. I'm cooking for a friend tonight. Although he wouldn't admit the friend was his wife, it did reveal a unbridled flair. Madelyn might say it was a show of strength. Huey called it taking charge. By the way, got any extra of that powder you used in the back room for those pesky problems of yours? Huey grinned. Just a matter of setting the stage, Huey muttered as he walked into Walter Duggan's Ace Hardware. Aging house, always something to fix, he said to Walter Duggan. He and Duggan played in the same city baseball league several years ago. Opposing teams, Huey didn't like Duggan at all, then or now. Strictly off the record, Duggan gave too much unwelcome advice. Stopped by the house often and told Madelyn he could fix her problems too. Duggan's shelves were busting with an array of supplies, tools, trinkets, glue, tape, candles, whatnots, whatever it took to meet the needs of the fixer-uppers in the multilingual, multi-generational neighborhood. Huey was full of confidence on this visit. Duggan stocked an array of supplies for mice, squeaking doors, and taming women, too. Walter Duggan took pride in the fact that he never liked McPherson. Off the record, he thought Huey was a wimp and not man enough at all for a striking gal like Madelyn, but he'd take McPherson's money any day and charge double whenever he could. Given the opportunity, he'd sneak into McPherson's house and rid it of its worrisome pest. Madelyn would have good reason to take him up on his offer.
Another murder suspect?
Another murder suspect.
Question is, who gets murdered?
That is the mystery at hand right now.
Well, here's my theory. It's probably Huey because, well, then Walter wouldn't be a suspect if anyone else dies. You know, Walter wouldn't kill Madelyn. Walter wouldn't kill Huey's evil boss.
Alexia.
Alexia, who we haven't met yet.
We have not met her yet.
Which I'm sure we will in this next chapter.
Nothing says lovin' like something from the oven. Oh, I like that. That evening, Huey and Madelyn pulled into the garage at the same time. Fenders a finger width apart. Madelyn first by a hair, Huey a close second. Huey locked his car. Bing, bing. The same time, Madelyn hit her key fob. Bing, bing. Madelyn said, "Home early? The witch didn't tie you to her desk chair?" Huey smiled. Well, she asked me to say. I said no. I had a date with my wife. Madelyn nearly gasped. On one hand, she believed Huey. On the other hand, she knew he lied, often. Oh well, another day, another dollar, but things would be a-changing. Huey asked, "Tied up all those loose ends on the death policies?" Madelyn replied, Only one needed my expert eyes, left the others for tomorrow. Thought I'd start dinner early. Huey held up his shopping bags. Out of the rut, I'm primed and prepped for our meal tonight. Take a load off and relax. He watched his wife's eyebrows rise as he held up the grocery bag. Surprised? Disappointed? Had he failed again? Rut? I didn't notice, Madelyn said. I planned something extra special tonight. You see numbers, day in and day out. Definitely, you need a break. She held up her grocery bag. Rutabaga and turnip leaves flowed out of the top of the paper sack. Carrots, good for your eyes. Onions and beets in the bottom for better glucose control. Red and white onions, too. A celebration of sorts. Great minds think alike. Looks like we'll have a cook-off, Huey said with a smirk. Never willing to confess he cooked in the past, his fear had been that Madelyn would insist he cook it every night. In fact, Huey did have a knack for putting together a mean, near-perfect black bean garlic and sesame dish splayed over roasted asparagus. Add sautéed beef, and one would think they were eating in San Francisco's Chinatown. He leaned forward and kissed Madelyn's cheek. This is a challenge that will defy all negative taste buds. What he meant to say was, if this dish doesn't put Madelyn's angst to nothing will. Oh, happy days.
The Fonz.
What?
The Fonz. Happy days.
Oh, happy days.
Didn't know he was making an appearance.
No. Challenge is my middle name. Cook off, here we go. Madelyn grinned. She cooked with a flair, like a tried-and-true student from Le Cordon Bleu, 3-star Michelin, when she wanted. But why waste the time when Huey dug into Chef Boyardee macaroni with yellow cheese as if it were Williams-Sonoma's ripened Christmas brie or hand-rolled semolina flour noodles from El Italia? Tonight would be different. Yes, Madelyn was about to prepare a perfect, high-roughage, complex carbohydrate, vegetarian stew that would defy all picky eaters and satisfy the taste buds of a person who didn't know the difference between haute cuisine and frozen dinners. Strictly off the record, she didn't expect Huey to high-five her meatless meal, but this time he wouldn't complain the next day about indigestion. She'd picked the perfect ingredients that could fool or enhance each and every critical taste bud. A forever after winner in her book. Huey, what's your main 5 ingredients? Madelyn tied the apron around her waist. Okay, show and tell time. Fermented black beans, tenderloin, sesame oil, chili paste, garlic. Yours? He pursed his lips, confident he had the edge. Tomorrow, the door wide open. Interesting, his wife sighed. Of course, Huey would have beans in his dish. My 5. Rutabaga, couscous, apple cider vinegar, honey, and dillweed. Indeed, Madelyn's recipe was unique. Why consider it anything but the game changer? Married life, sweet memories. Tomorrow, a store of possibilities ahead. I must say, Huey, this is truly magnificent. Madelyn passed her plate. Why not seconds? A little beef won't hurt me, and I want to savor this for the rest of my life. She tried her darndest to stay clear of meat, cooked or raw. 4-legged creatures were not supposed to pass her lips. Truth be told, off the record, she snuck off for a half-pound burger about once a month. Screw the rules, the self-imposed kind, too. Outstanding stew, Huey said. Reminds me of a snowy day, a fireplace, and feet up on a hassock. I swear I tasted pork tenderloin. He handed his wife his shallow bowl. Seconds I can't resist. Who would ever guess that rutabaga and dillweed could be so enticing? I swear I'm going vegetarian for the rest of my life. Huey watched Madelyn dip the ladle into the tureen and fill his soup bowl to the brim. After several minutes of savoring the arrays of flavors and textures and aromatic nuances, they cleaned their palates with a small slice of Vermont cheddar and the last of a bottle of Apothic Red Blend. Leftovers for 3 more meals, Huey said. Well, you can eat twice as much as I can. At any rate, that means no cooking for a while. What a delight for me, Madelyn said with a smile. Huey, you have a natural talent for cooking. You should do it more often. My dear, I'm turning over a new leaf. I'm going to cook for the most important person in my life. And if Jefferson's Groceries run sales, I'll save enough to fit eating out in the budget 3 nights each week. I'm so ready for revitalization. I'm gladly turn over the shopping. Have at it. If I get the promotion I want at Farmer's Home Office and sell a few policies to rich clients, I won't have time to shop. There'll be enough extra cash to dine out maybe 4 nights a week. Just think, a downtown office, corner window? Madelyn stared into Huey's satisfied eyes. A grand meal, and if she left the room now, she was sure Huey would lick his bowl. How could she not feel this had been her finest hour? A job well done. Huey and the luscious stew. What great memories. Let's not go overboard, Huey said as he gazed at Madelyn. You'd have to be the beneficiary on one of those policies to go out 4 nights a week. Remember, the extra commute will eat into the increased income. Madelyn, even wealthy people mind their debt and credit columns. Huey sighed. Why was it with Madelyn that she needed to spend every cent she made? But this wasn't the time to talk about budgets, debts, or savings account. Huey wanted nothing more than to glory in the success of the evening. The meal had been perfection. Madelyn had eaten more than enough of his grand concoction to assure it was the best dinner of her life. Lasting memories, enough for Huey to smile the rest of his life, too. They had established long ago that cell phones were not allowed while eating. Although visible on the farthest counter, no checking them, no looky-loos. Rules adhered to by both, no sudden rush to see if they missed messages. Across from each other, the empty bottle of apothic on the table, the one his boss Alexia had given him on their last trip. Glasses empty, Huey and Madelyn were still at the table an hour later, content looks on each face.
And then they die.
Is that what you think?
I don't know. We got 4 chapters left. I don't think they're dead yet.
We got 4 chapters left.
We do. This is another one where we're not going to see a body until late in the story, isn't it?
I guess that'll be the third one, because last week's, i.e. yesterday's episode.
Didn't get it till minute marker 40.
Yep, occupational hazard.
Only that's how you pronounce it.
Let's get back into it with Who's Got Your Back? However, Huey and Madelyn didn't show up at their respective offices the next day. Their employers bitched and moaned about their absence. No-shows had not been a routine, but, strictly off the record, these 2 employees were not held in high regard. Non-scheduled absence would be the perfect excuse to begin the downsizing process. Of course, bosses Alexia and Tula had no knowledge of the others' concerns. By the end of the day, though, as if they were twins on the same flight path, they both drew up plans to remove the absent employee from the payroll. Alexia Finkbeiner sent a note to Human Resources, which outlined the problems she had endured over the last 6 months with the accountant, Huey McPherson. Sexual harassment topped the list of objectionable behavior. Off the record, old Huey was a bit of a bore. As flat as a blank piece of paper, you couldn't get the man to put a fire under his shoe. He'd hem and haw, couldn't make a decision. Of course he was handsome, but handsome is as handsome does. Show me the meat, Alexia had said to Huey more times than she'd like to remember. But she wasn't looking for fantasy, but wasn't life more exciting with forbidden fruit? Taking risks, breaking rules? Yes, she wanted the real thing, but all she got was big, flat, dull, stick to his guns, no can't do this weekend employee. But what concerned her more was the sense of series of discrepancies found in this last audit. Enough errors to raise the hair on the back of anyone's neck. Hardwick, Harrington, and Breezeway accounting firm giants wanted to blame it on her. She and Huey discussed it on the last trip. No lawsuit for her. Now she could reveal his failure and fire him immediately. It wasn't that Tula Montgomery, manager of Midtown Farmers Insurance, didn't appreciate Madelyn's work ethics. It was more that she was bored to tears with Madelyn's damn predictability. Tula could never get Madelyn to bend. It was as if she was stuck in constant orientation. Do this, do that protocol, by the book. Madelyn McPherson stuck to her guns, dead on with her routine. Off the record, if Madelyn fudged a little, skimmed now and then, they would both benefit. That straw that broke the camel's back, why Tula wanted to fire Madelyn in the past, was the fact that Tula had upgraded all computer equipment and Madelyn refused to participate. Damn Madelyn wouldn't give up her trusted Hewlett-Packard desktop, a boxy old thing, but granted still reliable and loaded with a lot of valuable records. Tula, with her fingers tapping on Madelyn's desk, said at least once a week, "Please, convert your equipment. Good Lord, gal, what if something happened and I had to get into your old system? I've totally wiped out how-to from my brain. Duck out of water I'd be, Madelyn. You need to update your records or show me how to crack it. Time for a change." Truth was, Tula worried Madelyn might suspect that she had devious reasons for converting the files. Is that why Madelyn kept saying no? Job security? Even Tula's gift of favored wine hadn't inspired Madelyn to change her mind. Besides, Madelyn's squinted eyes that screeched, "Won't give up my computer." Tula had other reasons to find a permanent replacement for Madelyn. Granted, Madelyn couldn't be fired for lack of efficiency. She did a fine job tracking policies, beneficiaries, and death notices that came with an insurance agent's responsibilities. But, oh my, Tula's head went haywire every day over Madelyn's lack of enthusiasm for the ordinary things that made life exciting. Tula longed for a spicy workplace. Have a martini lunch, wine after work, talk about an affair. Ye gads, the girl was bland. Cottage cheese had more zest. No wonder that husband of Madelyn's went out on the town so often. Bet he had more than accounting on his mind. Replace her, backdate the paperwork, and hire someone with vigor in their blood. It takes a village. On day 4 of the McPhersons' absence, a kindly neighbor from around the block knocked on the door of Huey and Madelyn's small, aged house. "Another bottle of wine for them. Lucky." "Have to apologize again," the little old woman said as she looked up to the sunny blue sky. "No answer." She put the bottle back in her bag. "I'll pick up their mail. Keep it safe." On day 6, the Amazon delivery man dropped a small box at the McPhersons' door. Mrs. Doyle across the street spied the delivery and walked over to pick up the box. "Looks like a book. Probably a bestseller by John Grisham." Mrs. Doyle put it in her tote bag. "Save it from the rain," she said with decisiveness. On day 7, the runaway black and chestnut long-haired dog raced back and forth around the house, howled a couple of times, and then went close to the front shrubbery and did a decidedly large poop. It scuffed its back legs, shook its tail, and then went on to the stoop. It curled on the welcome mat and folded down on its side. The sun beat on its shiny coat. A breeze gently cooled its broad pink belly, and then it fell asleep. On day 8, Mickey, the boy who cut the McPhersons' grass and shoveled snow in the winter, knocked on the door. He looked at his knuckles and then his fingernails. Time to talk about the cost of living. Nervous about the bold move to ask for a raise, he said for practice, "Mr. McPherson, inflation, it is as it is. I have to charge an extra $2 for each job." Off the record, he already charged $2 more than his cousin who covered the neighborhood 6 blocks west. A horn blew and Mickey, the 14-year-old, jumped. He thought McPherson had tooted his horn, a signal of sorts. "No, I'm not paying you another cent." But it was Mrs. Doyle who really set Mickey on edge. As she walked by, as was her routine, she called out, "Likely you won't get an answer. They've been gone all week, probably on vacation. You know people who don't have kids. Take off when they want, never tell a neighbor anything. Mrs. Doyle huffed. Not a good reason to like the McPhersons, except they kept to themselves, never asked about her well-being, or asked her to come over for a drink. Toddy would be nice in winter, too. You'd think they showed concern for an elderly woman who'd given them a bottle of wine last week. But no. Off the record, the McPhersons were the kind you wouldn't call neighborly. Mickey thought about the grass he'd cut last week and hadn't received a payment. He wanted to kick the door. Shit, he muttered. Old McPherson had screwed him out of money. And the grass needed another mow job. Shit, he should hold out. Not cut till he got paid? Shit, McPherson was so tight he'd probably not pay him if he cut it without asking. Off the record, he thought about going to Doug and Ace again and buying a jug of weed killer and spraying it all over the lawn. Day 9 and 10 went by without a hint of activity at the McPherson house. But something else stirred in the air. Something more than the kindly thoughts of the old lady that occasionally walked by on a pleasant day and let her dog run loose, or those of Mrs. Doyle who would have welcomed a friendly invite and maybe returned the book she picked up days before. Decidedly something provocative, new and different, brewed in that small, dark house. On the 11th day, the Amazon delivery man put up a fuss. Damn, who wants to knock on the door of a place that smells like a backed-up sewer? Not me. He tossed the soft package on the stoop. He got back of his van, hit the gas pedal to back out of the driveway. Just as he turned the wheel to speed down the street, Mickey appeared and waved him down. Did you knock or drop? Mickey yelled to the driver. He wanted to know if the McPhersons had returned home. He needed his money really bad. First high school football game of the season tomorrow night. He'd asked his new girlfriend to go with him. That meant he had to pay for tickets and hot dogs. $20 in his pocket would make him look rich. Hell no knocking, I dropped, the Amazon man said. Didn't need a signature, same vitamin box comes every month, and hell, I wouldn't wait anyhow. That place smells like shit. I heard they were never heard of a vacation taking so long, Mickey said. That's because you live on the wrong side of town. Cross over Six Forks Boulevard and hell, people go for the whole winter. I can't imagine old McPherson going anywhere. He's tight as a girdle on a fat lady. Owes me $20. Each time I cut his grass or shovel snow, he stalls about paying. Not my problem, kid, but I hear ya. Quit, or better, to strike. Carry a poster. Whatever you do isn't important now. That guy's got a plumbing problem that needs fixed bad. Should have called Duggan. Smells like a damn sewer backup. The Amazon driver waved his hand and sped away. Mickey scratched his head. Two thoughts came to mind. He could take his losses, or he could ask Mrs. Doyle what she thought about the Amazon driver's comment. Maybe they should ask Duggan to take a look. He knew everything about older houses in the neighborhood. Something fishy, though. Mickey sniffed the air. The smell was strange, that's for sure. Mickey didn't know the McPhersons well enough to tell them their house smelled like shit, but he knew old Mrs. McPherson wouldn't let her house get stinky. She wouldn't even let him in the house with clean boots when he asked to use the bathroom. No, take those boots off outside, she said. Then you can come in if you don't need to go number 2. Well, that pissed him off enough to get really angry, and that's why he put the special bug killer in her lettuce patch. That's the woman Mickey would have had to deal with as she answered the knock, which made facing tightwad McPherson all the easier when he had asked for a raise. But should he bring up the raise before or after his demand for the $20 back pay? Now that was the real question. Mickey then had another thought. Vacation or not, they'd want a neighbor to report a plumbing problem. An extra tip? Tomorrow, after school, he decided what to do. He had a girlfriend waiting for him. On the 12th day, Mickey knocked on Mrs. Doyle's door. He might get a new customer if he showed real concern for the McPhersons. Lay it on thick. Worried about plumbing and sewer problems, would be terrible to come home after a nice vacation. Off the record, Mickey didn't care. A strong odor is coming from the front door of the McPherson house. Mrs. Doyle walked out on her porch and sniffed her nose. Smells worse than dead fish or 3 days of company. But the McPhersons didn't have company, and they'd been gone a lot longer than 3 days. Mrs. Doyle called out to the kindly older lady walking by the McPherson house. "Can you smell anything?" The elderly lady said, I do believe there's been a mishap. It reeks of trouble. My husband, deceased dear soul for 10 years, he was an undertaker." She looked up at the sunny blue sky. "If he were alive, he'd have been the one I called." The older woman smiled, but kept right on walking. Mrs. Doyle had no choice but to take the matter into her own hands. "Can't rely on anyone," she said, as she dialed the local police department. I have to make a little noise while I adjust my mic here.
That's fine, but how dare you? Well, they're definitely dead in there. The real question is, who killed them? I bet they just killed each other. I bet they indeed murdered each other.
I think about the Amazon guy going up, like how many times they come to our house and the dogs just go psycho. And
yeah,
I can't imagine all the stories they have to tell, but, smelling a
dead person's house.
Yeah.
I bet it's happened more than 3 times.
Across the country,
across
the world,
the globe,
or okay,
the globe is
the
here.
globe. Okay,
yes, I bet it's happened quite a dozen times.
I will take
quite a
that.
dozen.
All right, connect the dots. When the police arrived for a welfare check that afternoon, they proceeded to unhinge the door. When the front door fell back, indeed, more than rutabaga and black beans were spewing aromatic vapors. The unusually tart, acidic, and cloying odors mushroomed in a glorious Mount Vesuvius style through the street and beyond throughout the neighborhood. By then, too, the proof about lasting memories were in the pudding. A big dish of remains cluttered the kitchen tables. The officer spied the cell phones on the hall table. With the gloved hand, he picked them up. No charge left. Huey would have said, "Rule number 7, never break it." But what the officers didn't discover at the time was the fact that Huey's last vegetarian meal and Madelyn's broken rule never to eat meat went to the grave with them. Lasting memories. 2 bodies, both very dead.
Ha ha. Do it. Dead folks, Let's see. Wait, hold on. Dead body at 5:52:40.
Oh, it is later than last time. It was at 41 minutes.
By the way, folks, if I ever say a time and it's different from what you see, it might be because sometimes I trim off a little time from the beginning. I hit record, we take a second to start, and then I cut off the 3 seconds where we're silent. So if I say 5:52:40 and you're like, it's not, that's why. I thought it was important you understand that because I wouldn't want you thinking I'm lying.
Because
I'm
we
not
do
lying.
do these live.
They're live. They're live. I just trim off a little of the beginning so that you don't have to sit in silence for an extra 5 seconds because it's weird. Anyway, I'll shut up. Let's keep going.
Who, how, and why. A lot of yellow tape covered the front door, signs posted for no entry, medical forensic specialists collected bits and pieces of hair, fiber, and table scraps. The detectives detected, and all too soon, everyone near and far who had been involved with the McPhersons knew the couple was dead. Strictly off the record, Walter Duggan walked by the house several times and just shook his head. He wasn't about to tell anyone how he felt about either the McPhersons or their shopping ventures at his hardware store. 3 weeks after the cause of death had been declared, the laboratory report still sat on Detective Garland Farrell's desk. Detective Farrell studied it, tapped a long, well-clipped fingernail on it, and then ran his hand through his hair. He propped his glasses back on the bridge of his nose a couple times as he stared at the report. He'd read the forensic report 3 times, digested with the 3-star Michelin meal, amid the creative accoutrement, the lettuce, the rutabaga, were lethal doses of anticoagulants and bromethylene, relatively easy to obtain, sold in various convenience stores, home repair, and the such. Why? Detective Garland Farrell pondered. Excuse me, sir, I'm here to ask for a favor, and the guy at the desk said to go in. Farrell looked up from the report when he heard a young voice. A gangly teenager stood at his door. Gangly, but neat. Hair swept back, not hanging in his eyes as if he were hiding from the world. His pants weren't hanging below his ass, no visible butt crack. What was a nice kid doing in a police station? "What can I do for you?" Farrell grunted. "You're a detective, right? Need to know if you can help me get my money," the boy said. "Why should I help you get your money? What's your name?" "Mickey Hamilton, sir. I'm owed money, and it looks like I'll never get paid." "Well, my advice is to ask the person who owes you the money to pay it back." Detective Farrell didn't deal with trivial matters, but what the heck, the kid looked decent. "Write a letter? Not much police can do unless the person stole it. And if it wasn't much money, say less than $1,000, it's unlikely you'll get it back. Sorry, other fish to fry." He looked down at the piles of paper on his desk. "That's a lot less than $1,000. Mickey stepped in closer to the officer's desk. "I worked for it. The thing is, the person who owes it is dead. And I remember on cop TV shows that when they find a body, what they find on a body is put in what you all call a evidence room." "Less than 1,000. Okay. How much?" The kid had guts, Farrell thought. A little naive. Loose change in a dead man's pocket, gone in a flash by whoever takes the body away or someone at the morgue. Maybe enough cash for a few beers to get the mind off the gruesome task. "I've got the dates on my mom's kitchen calendar. Didn't do the job this month, but last month 3 times. He owes me $60. Mickey felt it was a fair amount for one cut he didn't get paid for and those he missed while he waited for the McPhersons to come back from their vacation. Except now he knew they'd never left and, for sure, wouldn't leave again. Thing was, is he hadn't found another lawn care job. On top of that, he faced a more troublesome dilemma. His girlfriend hinted at going exclusive, a twosome, which meant he had to spend more money on her. He thought about giving her a potential ring, something to show he wasn't taking it for granted that he'd got to first base with her. But being in the dead zone of a weather circle, grass not growing, snow not snowing, he couldn't have any extra dough to buy the token ring. Strictly off the record, it would be better to break up with her, but he could sneak out without making a scene. If only McPherson had paid him, he could have bought some time. Didn't hurt to ask for what he was owed, and a little more. Thing was, he would have earned the money if McPherson had been a reasonable person. Took a few seconds for Detective Farrell to wrap his head around the kid's request. Because Farrell wasn't in a hurry to leave for the day, he offered the kid a seat. Didn't hurt to know what was going on in the head of this nice but strange kid. These days, all he saw were lugnut teens who spent most of their days working on a way to eat prison food. Overnight jail hadn't taught him that institutional meals were god-awful. Farrell made a decision. "Have a seat, kid. I'll go check the evidence room." Then he went into the break room, got a cup of coffee and a can of soda for Mickey. He stalled for a few minutes. Went through the files, Mickey, and lo and behold, McPherson did have the cash on him. All $60. My guess is he wanted to pay you that very day. Good thing you didn't knock on the door the day we found the McPhersons. Can't get some things out of your memory. He handed the boy the folded bills. No need to tell Mickey he'd taken the money out of his own wallet. The kid hadn't come for a handout. Wanted what he earned. Fair-minded, Farrell thought. Gotta keep young guys like Mickey on the straight and narrow. "Thanks for going out of your way, Detective Farrell. This means a lot. By the way, do you know why or how the McPhersons died? Not really my business, but, curious, since I worked for them." We have reached the deliberation.
They killed each other.
Detective Farrell has a strange
Classic
case on
murder.
his desk. He needs our help if he's going to move the case of Huey and Madelyn to the closed pile.
They're already closed in a coffin.
Here, Jack, are the people involved in the case in the order we met them.
Henry.
Huey McPherson,
Henry.
accountant, dead
Yes.
guy.
Yes, dead man. Dead man.
Madelyn McPherson, insurance clerk,
Other dead man.
dead gal. Alexia Finkbeiner, Huey's boss and mistress.
I wouldn't call it mistress. She seemed to have a lot more power than that.
What would you call it?
Awesome person.
Tula Cunningham, Madelyn's boss.
Yes.
Walter Duggan, hardware store owner.
Walty.
Mrs. Doyle, put out neighbor.
Oh no.
Mickey, unhappy long boy.
Wouldn't it have been great if Mickey did it?
Talk
Just
about a
Just
pound
saying.
of flesh for his $20.
Wouldn't it have been great if he was like $20? Stab, stab.
All
I
right.
can get it to 60.
So Farrell only has what he sees, but we know a little bit more.
That we do.
So here are the facts as we know them.
That we do.
Huey and Madelyn McPherson are long past the honeymoon stage. Huey is fed up with Madelyn spending and tired of catering to her. Madelyn is bored with Huey's lack of enthusiasm and his tight-fisted management of money. Still, they stay together, looking for excitement. And to end the marriage, the ultimate answer? I think I have a typo in that sentence.
They killed each other. That's what matters. That's what that says. That's what that says. They want to kill each other. Thus, they killed each other.
Huey and Madelyn surprise each other with elaborate dinners.
Yes.
They plotted and planned. The end is near. They heartily eat and drink. They follow rule number 7. Their cell phones are out of sight and out of reach.
Yep. They both tried to claw towards it and died first.
Nearly 2 weeks after the cook-off, a welfare check leads to the discovery of the bodies, still sitting at the dining room table.
Welfare or wellness?
I need to double-check that. I don't know.
Would it be because welfare feels different to me, right? Wellness check. I've heard of those.
Okay. Maybe it's
Maybe
wellness.
it's a wellness check.
Okay.
Well,
We need to figure that out.
I digress.
Let me share the following things we know.
Yes.
We know Madelyn visited Duggan's hardware and picked up supplies for the house. Duggan flirted with Madelyn, as he always did, offering to, quote, fix her problems.
Gross. That's a gross man right there.
Huey also visited Duggan, a man who he never liked. The feeling was mutual. He also needed supplies for their aging house.
Here's what I don't get. The dude double charges McPherson, but he's in turn also double charging the woman he likes.
I know. That's pretty funny.
Like, you're not being as evil to just the one person as you think you are. You're being evil to 2 people.
Pretty funny.
And now what's her name?
Madelyn.
Madelyn can't eat out as much as she wants.
You know, she wants to eat out 4 nights a week. Whenever we've had to
That's
do
a
that, like for
lot.
traveling, it gets old so fast.
It's a lot. Plus,
It's
you
a
must
lot.
live in a big city. Because, like, there's not that much food. I mean, we're not in a huge city, but, like, I don't know what I would do.
Well,
after
we
a certain amount of
probably have
time.
to go outside of the 2-mile radius around our house.
Okay, fine. Then we do have a lot of restaurants we don't bother with. But still, I'm just saying they must live in, like, New York.
No.
New York.
When Huey fails to show for work, Alexia Finkbeiner moves for his dismissal for reasons including sexual harassment.
Which I find funny because clearly she didn't mind.
I think she was just tired of it.
Well, yeah.
She wanted to move on. With Huey's removal, he becomes the answer to the questions about misappropriated funds.
Yeah, which, did we find out where the misappropriated funds are actually from? Are they from him? I don't think they are.
No. I mean, all it really said was that Alexia had been confronted by her superiors about missing money.
And she's just going to blame him. That's fine.
Yep. When Madelyn fails to show, Tula Cunningham moves to fire her for failing to upgrade her technology. With Madelyn's removal, Tula has access to all the files she wants her bosses to see.
I don't even know how as an employee you can do that. Refuse to update your technology?
Yeah, you can't really.
You can't really do that.
You can still be a pain in the ass about stuff.
You can be a pain in the ass, but I don't know how you can refuse to update the technology they bought, you know?
Yeah.
That'd be so infuriating if I, like, as an employer, bought someone a new computer and they refused to use it. Like,
You'd
I
fire
would be-
them. But
you'd
yeah,
fire
IT
them.
would just take over like you're not using
Yeah,
it.
like, that's crazy. Also, how they have no access to her current files. That's crazy. That's not, like, how a real firm would be run.
No, but it works for the story.
It works for the story.
Mrs. Doyle has repeatedly tried to befriend the McPhersons, but they don't welcome the intrusion and instead keep to themselves.
They're not happy people.
Mrs. Doyle does not appreciate the lack of neighborliness.
Oh, no, Mrs. Doyle.
So now, for the record, whose name or names should Farrell write down?
The 2 murderees. Because, I mean, like, the other people all have a minor motive, but I don't think it's big enough to kill him. You know, did any of them even threaten to kill him? I don't even think there was a death threat in there. The only people who did even threaten death were the two people who died. I think it's quite simple. They poisoned each other, died, and sat in that house in their own grave.
You know, the Duggan guy, when he says, fix her problems, you took it somewhat sexual innuendo-y, but it could be taken threateningly, too, that Huey was her problem.
Well, I was more thinking fix your problems of leave that loser, come with me. Not kill that loser and come with me, because that's a lot more problems.
So you're going with Huey and
Yes, Huey
Madelyn.
Lewis and the news, they did it. That's what I kept thinking the entire time, is I have never met a human being named Huey except for the most famous Huey of all.
You've met Huey Lewis?
Heard.
Heard. Oh, sorry.
I haven't met Huey Lewis. That'd be really weird if I had. What a strange celebrity to have met.
Let's just get on with the big reveal.
Did you know Huey Lewis has been sued because Ray Parker Jr. stole the song New Drug? He didn't really steal it, but he took the song New Drug, turned it into Ghostbusters, and then Huey sued Ray Parker Lewis, and then they came to an agreement where it was like, we're not going to talk about it, but we're all going to get a little bit of money from it. And then years later, Huey Lewis did an interview and he talked about it, and Ray Parker was like, you signed a non-disclosure, and he sued Huey Lewis. He made all his money back.
Wow.
Good for Ray Parker J, you know?
Why?
Ray PJ. Dude, Ray PJ. Oh, it does sound like rape, though. I was going to say Ray PJ is a cool name.
I disagree with you here.
Rapey.
If he really did
Who? Huey?
No.
Rapey?
We need to get on with the story, but if he violated copyright and stole it, then no, not yay for him.
Well, I mean, yay for him in that he made his money back. And in the era of capitalism, that's what the ultimate success is. It's just money.
Let's go
Who
on
cares
to
the
the
means
big
in which you
reveal.
obtain it, you know?
Put
Kill
your
them all.
fingers on your keyboard.
All right, here we
sir.
go, folks.
Loose ends.
Loose ends.
Sad case at that, said Farrell to Mickey. A few suspects, angry boss, the dude who sold the toxic chemicals, jealousy. Investigation fell flat. All we can make of it is a lover's double suicide. Not any evidence to show otherwise. Squeaky clean couple, kept to themselves. You know, kid, sometimes people are afraid to grow old, so they leave while they're on top. Like athletes? Mickey asked. They play their best years and then retire before they get labeled failures? I get that. It's sort of like that, Farrell agreed. Strange. Don't like to work this kind of case. Feels like I've missed something. Strictly off the record, rat poisoning did the job. Lethal doses. Cooked grand meals together, died together. Classic Shakespeare story. Romeo and Juliet. Modern day version. They were kind of old, weren't they? Mickey said. Yeah, you're right. Not teenagers, but not old either. Can't ever tell what's going on inside someone's mind. Farrell smiled. He liked the kid, and that he knew a little Shakespeare. Mickey, feeling like a trusted confidant, thanked the detective and then left after a polite shake of hands. Back on the street, he counted his money. He didn't feel too bad about stretching the truth about the number of grass cuttings he'd done. McPherson's? Just plain weird. Maybe Detective Farrell needed his grass cut. He'd check out where he lived. Nice guy. Probably lonesome. Could be someday he'd be a good detective like good old Farrell. But he wouldn't fall for just any sob story. Mrs. Doyle spent the evening with her new book in hand. One more chapter and then she'd pass it on to her friend. Why send it back to Amazon? There wasn't anyone waiting for a refund. Strictly off the record, keep an eye out for another delivery. Book club leaders often ordered in advance. Good possibility there'd be another Grisham coming out soon. The elderly lady that walked by McPherson's house occasionally passed by again with the leash in her hand. A large black and chestnut dog was collared at the end. "No more running away, Lucky," she said. "What if you'd been taken in by those spooky people in that old house? What if they fed you bad food?" The lady stopped for a moment and stared at the door, then gazed at the double-paned windows. "Strictly between you and me, Lucky, those two were up to no good from the get-go. Drugs or something nasty. Good people behind closed doors, my ass. Bad people. Lucky, you can poop in their yard any time you need to," she said, and then tilted her head to the bright blue sky. Glad you weren't called in on this one, dear. The demise of the McPhersons was a surprise for Walter Duggan, the friendly, helpful hardware man who stocked everything one might need if they lived in a tired, aging neighborhood. Walter Duggan was a willing player. He never liked Huey. He had had his eye on Madelyn for a long time. Strictly off the record, he'd offered his advice. Walter Duggan was happy, though. The explosion of orders released in the air, Mount Vesuvius style, clung to the dry, aged clapboard houses. Fumes leaked from the squeaky old doors and slipped under cracks of windows long after the coroner took the departed couple away. Walter's business flourished because of a run-on for high-intensity room deodorants that set regional records for his Ace Hardware store. If only the McPhersons had lived long enough to appreciate what they had in common. One or the other might have said on their last evening, in fact, that they pleased all their neighbors too. The end. You got it right.
They definitely killed each other.
I disagree with Farrell. He suspected it was suicide.
Yeah, I noticed that.
It was murder.
It was murder.
Murder.
Which is, I love this because you find out how much just everyone hated them. Like, they don't seem that offensive to me. They seem like a generally fine couple. Then they're dead and everyone's like, thank God.
What I found was that the difference between the perception of themselves and the perception of the way other people saw them, like Huey, thought himself sort of wanting to play one role, but kind of downtrodden. And, that was not the way his boss saw him. I guess apparently lucky for him, he was good looking. And, Madelyn was the one who was always bitching about Huey's rigidity. And yet very much she is very
equal.
Much the same.
Yeah, it is funny. They were definitely a match made in hell,
Let me tell you about our newest author, Wil A. Emerson.
Oh, please, Doth.
As you heard at the beginning, she is a registered nurse turned full-time writer. She has lived throughout the U.S. and spent a few years in Europe, too. Her stories feature people she's met on her travels. Oh, I wonder who was the muse for Huey and Madelyn. A novel for women's fiction was her first sale, but her characters kept turning more deadly. Thus, a long list of releases appeared with Dead or Deadly as main characters. When her muse rests, she paints. No idle fingers for Wil. Look for her work in Crimecorpia or Black Cat Weekly. You can find her on the website at Wil Emerson and on Facebook and Instagram. I'll put the links in the show notes. So that wraps up this episode of Mysteries to Die For. Support our show by subscribing, telling a mystery lover about us, and giving us a 5-star review. Check out our website, m2d4podcast.com, for links to this season's authors and all of their stories. Check out our social too. Facebook and Instagram is where we are alive and happening. Mysteries to Die For is hosted by TG Wolff and Jack Wolff. Huey and Madelyn, Dead Heat, was written by Wil A. Emerson. Music and production are by Jack Wolff. Episode art is by Tina Wolff. Join us next week for a toe tag, which is the first chapter from a fresh release in the mystery, crime, or thriller genre. And then come back in 2 weeks for our next original story where gravity is our sticky means of murder. It's Flat by Robert J. Binney. All right, Jack, take us out.